Segment of the show for today. We're talking to Mr. Alan Smith and Mr. JWilliams, both of the Minority Business Exchange. And of course, Mr. Smith, before we had our first commercial break, we were talking about some of the challenges and some of the concepts dealing with minority business and the Minority Business Exchange. And let's have you to continue that conversation by giving us some nuts and bolts of some of the conferences that you're involved with.
Well, tomorrow, Saturday, February 12th, at the Sheraton Nashville Hotel downtown, the conference will begin at 8 a.m. with a continental breakfast, and then we have a myriad of national speakers as well as information and local experts that Mr. Williams is going to touch on and run down the whole day and what's going to happen there.
And so, Mr. Williams, so generally when you have these conferences at these various cities, you try to make contact with some of the national speakers and import those speakers into these special conferences?
Absolutely. To give you an example, our keynote speaker at the Hall of Fame luncheon, which is an awards luncheon that we do at each one of these conferences to present awards to local business advocates of all walks of life, is Mr. Benny L. Thayer. Mr. Thayer is the president and CEO of NACE, which is the National Association of Self-Employed. Mr. Thayer has been a consultant on small business for many, many years. He is based out of Washington, D.C. He has spoken abroad on the importance of small business in a national community, and he is really an advocate of minority small business development. Mr. Thayer will come in and he will speak about issues concerning those things. We also bring in other speakers such as Mr. Dennis Lowry, who owns the largest Native American business in the country, to talk about achievement, and Mr. Kervin Clintis from Miami, Florida will come in and talk about marketing. Over the course of the day, we have several broad topics such as the business plan and how to market your business and things like that. And then we even get specific in breakout sessions to talk about franchising issues. If you want to purchase a franchise, these are things you need to do. How to sell to state, local, and national government.
It's just information. Is that what that whole organization is about?
Information. As much information as you like, and then we tell you how we're going to help you retain that information and use that every day to either start your business or develop your business that you already have.
And let me also say that the information that we do provide is not just something that is scripted. We make it interactive for all of the participants. While they're listening to the speakers at the end of their presentation, we give the participants a chance to speak and answer questions that are specific to their needs. And that is real important, because a lot of times when you get blanket information, it's just not really talking and focusing on what you're there for. And we wanted to make sure that this was, targeted at everyone as an individual and their business needs.
Now, both of you see this organization as having national implications. And how far have you gone over the last 3 years in terms of touching other parts of the United States outside of Nashville and Carolinas, etc.?
Well, in the year 2000, we have had people that have come into our conferences from all over. But what we have decided to do in the year 2000 is to take this conference to 24 major markets. So we'll be from East Coast to West Coast, North and South. And as a matter of fact, Nashville was the first stop of the year 2000, and we'll continue on from there. But what we've done is, because of the needs all over the country and people saying this is needed everywhere, we've decided to hit 24 markets this year and bring the information to the people and continue to do that as we go into 2001.
What made you decide to select those specific 24 markets?
It's really, I think we looked at demographics.
Talk about that.
Yeah, we looked at the demographics. Markets that are very, very, have very, very high ethnic bases. Usually those are the markets that a lot of people have forgotten about. So these are the markets that we want to hit first. We're going to some very large markets. We're going to some top 10 markets. We're going to top 50 markets. And even if there's a need in another market, we'll even entertain putting together some things and meeting with some people and bringing the Minority Business Exchange to their market. We had to start with the demographics because we don't reach as many people as possible.
Well, what about some of the sponsorships, Mr. Smith, in terms of the folks who you call upon in order to help support what you're doing? Let's talk about it from that perspective.
We have been very fortunate as far as sponsorships are concerned. And sponsorships for the Minority Business Exchange come on many different levels. We have corporate sponsors as well as franchise sponsors, but some of the most important sponsors are those that provide information for the participants. The Small Business Administration, for example, the Small Business Resource Center. We have also partnered with the Minority Business Development Center, as well as EEOC and SCORE. And all of these government agencies have been able to provide a great deal of wealth in sponsorships. Some of the corporate sponsors that we have that have really been a great help to us, Bank of America has been with us for the past 3 years. In another market, we have our First Union Bank, as well as some of the other major corporate sponsors that you see all the time have come and stepped on board and said, we'd like to travel with you all through 24 markets. We see the need. And I think Mr. Williams is going to touch on some more of that.
Good. And of course, Mr. Williams, I guess minority business, the success of minority business not only will help minorities, but it also helps majority businesses as well. Why don't you speak to that?
Well, I think anytime you have competition, it makes everyone better. I think one of the things that we have to do is make sure that minority businesses are really developed, because if all businesses are very efficient, it gives people more choices. Therefore, people have to do more to make sure their business is up to par, so to speak. No longer is it going to be a situation where there are only a few choices to get the same type of products. We just want to make sure that minorities have the same opportunities and are allowed to have the information so that they can develop their business to be on the same level, to have a chance to get the business, so to speak. So that's important to us, to make sure everybody is in the same mix.
You know, if you had to give advice to some person who might be interested in becoming involved in his, and we've got a minute before the commercial break, but let me sort of lay this question out and give you both an opportunity to speak to it after the commercial break. If you had to give some advice to a person who might be interested in becoming involved in his or her own business, what business would you believe that you could suggest to them that would allow them to become involved and perhaps maximize whatever resources that they might have and be able to do it at a much more efficient way? Certainly you wouldn't advise them to become involved in automobile making, you see, but there are some businesses that you think that a person's just starting off, he doesn't have that much information about whatever, but he has a great desire to be what? An entrepreneur, a businessman. Where would you send him?
Well, actually, I think you have to look within, because with any business, it has to be a passion. There has to be a concept, and you have to develop a product. And usually that starts with what someone enjoys doing and what someone has done for all their life. You may have worked for another corporation doing something, and you became a specialist. What we say is, if you're interested in doing that for yourself, then that's where you need to start.
And let us hold it a minute, and we'll be back with the audience following this short commercial break.